Hi, everybody. My name is Dustin with www.gamblingonfreedom.com. I am a certified hypnotherapist specializing in problem gambling, gambling addiction, compulsive gambling. And in today's video, I want to teach you guys a couple tools in how to get out of urges or cravings to go gamble, whether that's negative urges and cravings or positive ones. Now, if you've watched my channel before, you've probably heard this quite a lot. But if this is your first time being here, then I want to bring in a concept called pain versus pleasure. Now, this is really where the addiction starts, if you will, because we really only have a problem if we feel like we have a problem. Nobody really worries or complains about the part of their life that goes great. And so what happens is this, we're going to the casino, we're online betting, whatever it is, and we're just starting out. And at first, it's really fun, right? At first, it's fun and it's exciting, it's new, it's something good. And, maybe you win some money. Maybe it's just to be with your friends. Maybe it's to have a place to go drink and be social, whatever the case may be. And so it's fun and it creates a lot of excitement to go, right? Some desire. Well, after about 6 months, a year of that, eventually what happens is that becomes very habitual, becomes addictive because you're having all this fun. And especially if you're doing it in like a routine, every weekend you go to the casino or every weekend you start to online bet or something like that, and you're creating sort of a routine behind it. That's a very quick way to start creating a habit slash addiction towards gambling. So let's just say that's the case. You're getting off of work and every weekend you decide that, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you're going to be gambling. And you do that for 6 months or a year. Eventually it becomes very habitual, it becomes addictive. And so you at first go to the casino or start your online betting apps because it's fun and it's something you want to do. It's something you genuinely want to do. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. Right. And so at first, it's great. The problem doesn't usually happen until you realize that you've been doing this so long that you're ready to just stop. You're ready to quit. You're not wanting to do it anymore. But what happens is you can't quit. You stop for a week and then you binge really hard and you bet even more than you normally do or something like that, that next weekend. And so, you use your willpower and your discipline to quit gambling and to stop it because you're ready to be done with it. But you realize you can't stop. Now you have a problem, right? And that's where the problem is, because now you're starting to realize, oh, I can't just give this up anytime I want to. I'm being controlled, right? And so it's less about time. Somebody can create the habit or the addiction, in 3 months. Some people, it might take 3 years, right? It just depends on the person. It's not really about the time. It's more about, when do you notice it's actually controlling you? When do you notice that you can't just stop for 6 months, right? Like if you just decided, I'm never going to gamble again, and you stop for 6 months and it wasn't hard, it was easy to do. There's nothing you had to do to pattern interrupt it or break it or, teach yourself new coping skills. None of that. You didn't have to do any of that. Then fantastic. You weren't probably ever addicted yet. If you are addicted, you'll realize that you can't just put it down like that. It doesn't work that way. And so, you go to fix the problem, you can't fix it. Now you have a bigger problem. And so when it gets to that point, now you're running into pain versus pleasure. So what is pain versus pleasure? Pain versus pleasure is a principle in the subconscious mind. And essentially what it says is we all move away from pain and go towards pleasure, period. Now that doesn't always sound as easy as it is, right? Because something could be logically pleasurable, but in the subconscious mind, it's actually pain and vice versa. So just know that that's not as easy to understand as you might think it is, pain versus pleasure. So here's the thing. So let's just say you've created the habit, the addiction, you're trying to get out, you want to get out. And so now you have high levels of dopamine from going all the time, which is now equated to safety in your nervous system. I won't talk too much about that. You can look at my other videos about that if you like. But essentially, high levels of dopamine get associated to safety in your parasympathetic nervous system. And so now everyday life stuff feels mundane and boring and uninteresting because you have base level dopamine. And it's not this, which this is safety, which means this is stress. So everyday life becomes stressful. And then on top of that, you have whatever debt you might make, promises you might not have kept, losing your job, just different stressors of life that make it even more stressful. So what happens is, because this is equated to high levels of dopamine, which is safety, which is good, if you're not here, your everyday life is more boring. It's more mundane. It's not as exciting. Your average dopamine levels on any given day are here. And so this becomes stress, as well as stress on top of it from other things. And the pain of this will eventually take you to pleasure, which is to go gamble, which is why gambling really is just an attempted solution to a bigger problem. It's the nervous system's coping strategy to get out of the sympathetic nervous system or the dorsal vagal nervous system, the fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and shutdown responses. And it needs to get out of it because it wants to be in parasympathetic. But parasympathetic is where the high levels of dopamine are now because it's associated those high levels of dopamine to safety. So ultimately, your nervous system wants to be safe, doesn't want to be unsafe. It wants to be safe at all times. And it's always scanning for safety. And anytime it's not safe, it wants to be safe. And so it does whatever it has to get there. Right. So basically, you have pain in your life, whether it's from the gambling or from other things. You have a lot of pain, a lot of stress, and then that will push you to gamble. So you could be coming from a pain to pleasure standpoint, or you could just be coming from a pure pleasure standpoint. Like you just want the thing. You just want to go gamble because you want to. Right. In either case, I'm going to give you 3 tips that you can actually use to sort of regulate your nervous system, regulate your emotional system so that you can, be a little bit better with these urges and hopefully help you actually get out of them altogether. Now, this isn't going to be an end all be all process. These are just 3 tips. In a one-on-one setting, it's far more powerful because you don't have to really worry about coping strategies and things like that. These are kind of just coping mechanisms, coping strategies to replace this coping strategy, which isn't helpful for you, right? The attempted solution of going to gamble isn't actually a very healthy coping strategy. And so we're replacing coping strategies with these tips. In a one-on-one session, we sort of process everything out so where you don't even need coping strategies. It's not even a thing. So the 3 tips, the first one is how to breathe through the urge. Okay, so whether it's an urge to go because you really want to, or an urge to escape some pain to go, whatever the urge is, what I want you to do is I first want you to label the feeling. So what is the feeling that you're having that's kind of driving your behavior to go? So are you trying to escape pain? If you are, what are you trying to escape? Are you trying to escape emptiness, loneliness, fear, anxiety, sadness? What are you trying to escape on the negative side? Or if it's a positive thing, what are you trying to go towards? What do you think that going to the casino or betting on your betting app is going to give you? Is it going to give you relief or happiness or joy or excitement? So what are you doing? Which side of the line are you on? And after you label it, now I want you to locate it. So label it, now locate it. Where in the body do you feel it? Do you feel it in your arms, your legs, your chest, your back, your mind? Where do you feel it? Label, locate. And then the third thing is to gauge it on a scale of 0 to 10. If 10 is the best or the worst that it could possibly feel and 0 is nothing, where are you? Are you a 7 out of 10 in pain? Like, let's just say it's an emptiness feeling, it's in your chest, and it's a 7 out of 10. Okay, that most likely will eventually lead you to go gamble, right? It's a pretty high number, 7 out of 10. Let's just say it's a positive. Maybe it's excitement, or let's just say it's relief. A lot of times I hear relief. So I want to go gamble because I want to feel some sense of relief from work or something, which is also pain, but we'll just say it's pleasure in this case. So let's just say it's relief, and you're chasing that relief, and you feel it in your chest, and it's a scale of 5 to 10. And you really want to go because you kind of want to go and you're tired of work and you just want to get out of the mundane for a second. And so you choose that and you decide to go. So either way, what I want you to do, label, locate, engage. Now what I want you to do is I want you to take a seat. You feel it, you've labeled it, you've located it in the body. Take a seat. And I want you to stare above eye level and find a point on a wall or a picture or anything, just a point. Put all of your attention there. Put all of your attention on that point. It should be above eye level would be best, something like this. So above eye level, stare at that spot. And what I want you to do is I want you to breathe very specifically. What you're going to do is you're going to breathe with an inhale of 4 seconds. You're going to hold it for a couple seconds, 1 or 2 seconds, and then exhale for 8 seconds, and then let it all the way out. Okay, inhale for 4 seconds, hold for a few seconds, exhale for 8 seconds, and then all the way out. Now, what this does is because of the double length on the exhale, what it's going to do is very physiologically activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So what it's going to do is it's actually going to get you back into a more balanced state. Okay. And do that for 5 minutes, about 5 minutes, maybe 30 reps if you want to do a rep thing, but about 5 minutes of in for 4 seconds, hold for a few seconds, exhale, and all the way out for 8 seconds. And when you do that, what you'll find is after you've done it for about 5 minutes, you have 0 urges to go gamble, whether it was because of a negative feeling or a positive feeling. You'll have 0 urges because this physiologically will activate your parasympathetic nervous system and get you out of whatever state you were in before. Okay, so that's the first tip is breathing. Your breath is directly linked to your nervous system. And it's a good controller of your nervous system. So you do need to do it for at least 5 minutes, I would say, to really clear out that urge. But do that for 5 minutes and you'll essentially be fine. Urges and cravings, whether it's negative or positive, typically only last between 5 and 15 minutes. Okay, so just keep that in mind, 5 and 15 minutes. The second tip is to pattern interrupt. Now, this one is a little bit tricky to understand because if you've listened to my other videos, I talk about how we don't want to necessarily escape our feelings. We're not trying to escape our feelings. We don't want to ignore what we're feeling and distract ourselves from it. That's not what we're doing with this. It sounds like it, but it's not that. Okay, so what I want you to do with this one, this is a pattern interrupt. And what you're going to do is you have the urge, whether it's a good urge or a bad urge. You're trying to escape something, you're trying to go towards something, whatever the case may be. When you have that feeling like you want to go gamble, you think you want to go gamble, you feel like you want to go gamble, for whatever reason it is, whatever justifications you have, what I want you to do is when you feel it, you're going to sit with it, label it. What is the feeling? Are you trying to escape boredom or emptiness or sadness? Or are you just trying to go towards excitement, fun, happiness, and joy? So label it, locate it. Where in the body do you feel it? Arms, legs, chest, back, mind. Where is it? Gauge it, 0 to 10. How good or bad is it on a scale of 0 to 10? If 10 is the best or the worst that it could be, and 0 is nothing, where are you? So gauge it, label, locate, and gauge. And for this one, what you're going to do is you're going to feel it. And as soon as you realize that you really want to go, that you're tired of feeling this bad feeling, or you really want to feel that good feeling, as soon as you realize that your mindset is, I'm probably going to go, then what I want you to do is I want you to go for a walk, or I want you to go to the gym, or I want you to eat something very healthy, or I want you to go to a movie. Anything that is a healthy replacement to doing whatever that is. Because what will happen is, especially if you do this over and over and over again, you train yourself to say, okay, every time I think of going to gamble, I'm going to go work out. Every time I feel like I need relief or I need to escape something, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go walk my dog. I'm going to eat something healthy. I'm going to go to a friend's house. I'm going to call someone to talk to. Any of these things. Because what you're doing is you're replacing the coping mechanism, right? If gambling is simply just an attempted solution to whatever deeper problem there is, which that's really all it is, it's a coping strategy. If that's what it is, then we just replace the coping strategy. Now, remember, this is more about replacing than getting rid of altogether, because I'm not there with you and I can't help you process your emotions and get your nervous system regulated. But I can teach you some tools to help you do this on your own in the moment so that you're not having these issues. But if you do this enough and you pattern interrupt enough that every time you want to go gamble, you work out instead. Every time you want to go gamble, you hang out with a friend, you go to a movie, you do something that's genuinely good for your life, for your health, for your mental health, spirituality, uh, physical health, whatever. And what you'll find is over time, that's more what you'd want, right? So every time I think this, I'm just going to go to the gym. And eventually that pattern will break, right? So eventually it might take a little bit of time, but eventually the pattern interrupt will break that pattern fully, and you will have a lot less thoughts about gambling. The urge won't matter to you as much because you've already trained yourself to do something other than go gamble when you have it. And eventually you won't even have it. So that's one way. The third thing, and the third way, and this is probably my favorite way, but it's also harder depending on the person, and it's not as um, maybe widely accepted or known, that kind of thing. So for this third option, what I want you to do is you have the urge, whether it's to escape something or run to something, and you feel it in your body and you locate it and you label it and you gauge it. And what you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes and you're going to put all of your attention on that feeling. And you're not going to run. You're not going to reject it. You're not judging it. You're not pushing it. You're not distracting yourself from it. You're not suppressing it. You're just feeling. And all you're going to do is allow yourself to feel your way through it. So you feel the urge, you feel the need for the escape, or you feel the desire to go, and you sit with it. And you sit with it until you no longer feel it. Literally, you let it process, you let it break. And again, you can really only have an urge or a craving from anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes. That's the typical time that they're sort of alive in our mind, in our body. And so if it's truly just an urge or a craving, you sit with it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, essentially it's going to be gone, 9 times out of 10. And it might not be, and this is easier said than done. Okay, in a session, in a one-on-one session, there's more to this process, and I help you guide through it so that it truly does process and your nervous system does regulate, and we can begin to reassociate your feelings and emotions towards gambling. But just at home, you don't know how to do all that stuff, so it's good to just sit with it. Let yourself sit with it, feel it, do nothing about it. Just observe the feeling. Just let it be, let it process. Let yourself feel it. Realize it's just an emotion, a feeling, a sensation, and just feel it. And that's all you're going to do. And you're going to sit with that literally until you no longer feel it. And that is going to be the most powerful of the three: the breathing coping strategy, the pattern interrupt to go do something healthier is also a coping strategy. This is more of a processing. This is more of a regulation technique, right? You're sitting with it, you're processing it, you're allowing it so much. So you're just allowing your body to feel it, and you're allowing your mind to race with whatever thoughts it's having and doing nothing about it. And eventually it will process. Now, again, it's easier said than done. Some people have a hard time doing this. So if you do have a hard time doing it, go maybe with the breathing technique or the doing something else technique, because this one does have a lot more potential when there's a guide, when there's somebody like me to help you through it, to get you out of something being stuck for too long and that kind of thing. But ultimately, just sit with it, sit with the feeling, process it. We tend to assign a meaning onto everything, including feelings. And here's the thing, meaning controls everything. Okay. So what we make something mean determines what we believe, how we think, what we feel, the actions we take, and the results we get. And those results would feed back the meanings and belief we have. So what we tend to do is we tend to feel, say, a negative emotion, feeling, or sensation, and we assign a meaning onto it, like, oh, because I feel this way, that must mean X, Y, Z. It's not really true. It's just a feeling. It's an emotion. It's a sensation. But it doesn't have to mean anything. The meaning is coming from logic, from consciousness, when this is a subconscious emotional thing. It's a different thing. It doesn't speak the same language. Your subconscious mind does not speak the same language your conscious mind does. Conscious mind is all about logic, reasoning, understanding, decisions, willpower. Your subconscious mind is all about emotion, identity, belief, morals, values, principles, identity, right? So different languages, right? They don't speak the same language. And that's why we try to assign meaning onto things, because logically we want to know as much as we can, right? So that's pretty much it for this episode. I wanted to also share with you guys my book that is on Amazon. It's called The Easy Way to Quit Gambling, Exposing the Illusions That Keep You Hooked and How to Break Free for Good. It is on Amazon. It's a pretty decent price, I think. And to be honest with you, it can help. It's a supplement, just like anything else. And it can help you understand that gambling really doesn't give you anything. And the truth is, until you are no longer being served in a positive way by gambling, you're going to continue to gamble. So you have to see it for what it really is. It's an illusion. It doesn't actually give you relief. It doesn't give you hope or freedom or happiness or excitement. It doesn't give you any of that. It actually takes everything away from you. And based off this principle, you might understand how it's like, oh, well, if I'm just escaping stress, am I actually getting relief? Not really. You're actually escaping stress, and by escaping stress, you manufacture relief. So it's a manufactured relief based off stress. And it's not real relief. It's not real fun. It's not real excitement or escape. It's simply just a coping strategy or mechanism from the stress, to get away from the stress. And so the book really goes into sort of reframing how you think about gambling, so you can think about it differently, feel about it differently, and take different actions and get different results when you go gamble. So you're not just gambling unconsciously. It's not just an automatic thing you do. The book teaches you how to reflect inside while you gamble, right? It's literally designed to take you to sort of a context of gambling and to reflect on how you're feeling in the moments of doing the gambling, the urges you're feeling, to reflect on those. It'll have different prompts and different little exercises you can do when you go gamble, so that you can realize that this has been an automatic thing, that you're sort of being taken over by these emotions and feelings and sensations, and this addiction. And so what it does is it teaches you how to reflect more deeply, so that when you're having the urges, or when you're at the casino table, or you're playing online, you have at least some sense of conscious understanding that you don't have to be here. You don't have to do this. You're seeing your breathing become rapid. You're not actually finding relief. What you're finding is tension. And then when the tension's gone, you have relief, right? So I like to equate this to, when you wear a pair of shoes that are 2 sizes too small, and you walk around all day, and you do your work all day, and you do your errands all day, and you come home and you take off your shoes that are 2 sizes too small, and your feet have relief. Well, of course they do. You had a lot of stress going on. You were wearing shoes that were 2 sizes too small. But is that relief really real? Or is it just manufactured relief because you had so much stress? Right. And so that's kind of what gambling does with this whole pain versus pleasure cycle and principle. And there's a lot of different ways out of it. Some people need to change their identity, maybe their beliefs, maybe some emotions, Some people just need to regulate. Some people need to uncover something that happened even deeper into the past, that it might have something to do with something that happened 20 years ago before they ever even started gambling, right? And so there's different reasons and ways to gamble, and there's different reasons and ways to stop gambling. So check out the book. It's on Amazon. I'll leave the link in the description below. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode, guys. I'll leave it there for now. Talk to you guys later.